It's finally 8 May 2025, and to mark my progress and commitment on the book that I'm writing, that is the Financial Literacy in Your 20s. And I've been working on this book for quite some time now, and even in the recent years, I wanted to make a summarized video publication, even if I'm not able to publish in papers, in physical papers. Mainly because I'm sure there are lots of improvement to be made. This book is dedicated to my younger self or something that I would have loved to achieve or something that I would have loved to know while I was younger in my stage of struggle so that I can be ahead of many people in the race of life. And mainly, this book is written for the audience and people who are in their early 20s, and even for many people who can gain anything out of this book. That if you wish to have a head start in your life, then I'm sure it aims to help the reader break free from the silent struggles, especially those of us from the middle class families and low class income backgrounds. The book explains financial concepts mainly based from the entrepreneurial side and how to overcome fears, mainly like losing a job or starting a business with little money or no money at all. It offers guidance for people who lack directions after graduations, especially in areas with less exposure than big cities. It is a roadmap to understanding money, life, and how to succeed in today's fast moving world. Introduction and why read this book? This book focuses slightly more towards the entrepreneurial side, but it also emphasizes the importance of understanding the entrepreneurial journey and gaining financial literacy even for those with salaried incomes. I was often told that success depends on a person's interest and that entrepreneurship is the key to financial independence, free of doing what you want and getting to have the flexibility in time, money, and many more. I don't disagree with that, but what many of us and many people does not realize is that entrepreneurship can feel like a nightmare in the beginning. Say example for the first 3 to 5 years where it is usually of only hard work, no progress, little of success, and no income. Even with sleepless night and full hard swing of hard work during the daytime, you see a very little progress, often with no visible progress, so to say. This book is a little small, but it is not because I am better than any of you, and not because I am wiser or I have been in a higher places than any of you, but so also for myself to remind myself as I struggle and compete with the world that there are very little things that can help to improve you, and this book reminds me to work hard and follow some certain criterias and rules as you struggle or compete with the other entrepreneurship journey, or so also for some people who can learn or gain anything from what I've written. Section 1: Understanding the process. You should be patient enough to understand the process of your struggle be it in your entrepreneurial journey, be it a competitive exam appearing, or any other forms of pursuance that you are currently in, or I am. In chapter 1, we have getting your first earned cash. And this is a very important part, or something known as a very crucial thing that every entrepreneurial minded person should know. Because, as for me, I think our first earned cash or our first income was so called the Lohatina back then. While we were little, we would go out searching for scrap metals and sell them for 5 rupee a kilo, which was something that we are really proud of and very happy by the end of the day, even if we had to spend the whole weekend. This was not during our school days or during the weekdays, but usually on the weekend after having an early holiday on Saturday, so that we have something nice or some sweets we get by the end of the weekend, that is Saturday. 5 rupees back then was something really nice for us. And for us, scrap metals, we also did searching fish, working for some other people, but I think searching scrap metals was the first hard earned cash from my side, which plays an important role for me because that's how you know how hard money was earned and nothing comes easy. Chapter 2, First Journey into the Real World. I often use the word real world because I think there are two stages or two parts of a world or your life, where the first one consists of people loving you or showing extra care for you or giving extra attention for you, or like your parents giving you extra care, or even your friends, or even your relatives or some families, while you get it when you are younger. But as you grow up into a stage where we enter the harsh reality of life, where most outcomes or most expectations does not favor you or does not favor me, and it also seems to not only favor but like seems to be against you. And as you leave the comfort zone of your family or your parents, and you have to be standing on your own feet, I think I would call that the real world, and where we take responsibilities into our own hands. Responsibilities can also be termed or can be in the form of being matured either by age in certain countries where your parents does not support you, but out here in my real world, age does not have to do anything in this area. Chapter 3, your first job, be it entrepreneurship or any forms of career, be it examination or any forms of career you and I wish to become. I think being from a humble family or being from a low middle class family, getting your first job after your degree is very important. Even though you are from a general line of background, this is the first job is mainly used in the chapter 3 because you and I have to get our first job as we finish our first forms of education, that is our degree. Talking about degree and why degree is not as important as back then. It is a fact that back then during our parents' age, degree or having a qualification in master's degree or in your 10 plus 2 even, Parents grew up in an era where degree or having a proper qualification means safe, or they are not going to be poor anymore. But if you and I, in this current generation, if you think degree is something safe, I think you are in a wrong sense or in a wrong place where degree, speaking in our society, we usually have the general course degree or not a professional or a specific subject degree, which you should not just be doing your degree and be happy about it. Rather, invest in some extracurricular, or so also get some extra skills as you do your degree at the same time. Invest in sales, as I usually speak to people and will be mentioning about knowing how to sell at the end of the chapter. I know it's a little controversial or not very nice of me to speak ill of about our education system or the current school that we are having in our society. And mainly because I feel that they are giving our children's or our younger ones a mindset where they are forced to work for someone or not given a specific topic or not given a specific skill to be learned inside the education. Mainly, I do not agree or I am not happy because it does not teach money or any special skills, rather focus on general, does not teach us taxes, which the our society are usually exempted because we are from the scheduled tribe. But also, I think being in the entrepreneurial side, learning taxes is also very important. Just like many of those money, taxes, and skills, I think our school lacks in teaching important life lessons, rather focusing on general topics. And something about our first job, I would also love to add that we should consider working. Of course, the first job is mainly because we are from a humble family or from a poor family that we have to get a job to keep our feet running to get a livelihood. But after your first job, which usually I think you should quit after your after 2 years or maybe 3 years at the most. After 1 to 3 years, the second job, I think, which for most of us, we should continue in the job because we are still from, we are not going to be very stable because the first job is not going to pay you well. But in the second job, I think I would emphasize or I would ask you guys or myself to, work for a boss or for an honor where there is personal growth or where there is room for self improvement. I think working for a job where there is self improvement in your second job is so important that everyone should look into it. The last chapter in section 1 is about positive energy. I also wanted to, remind myself that having a positive energy or having a positive mindset or being open minded is so important that it helps you in very little ways, but every little thing counts as you work hard because the positive energy that you remind yourself that you are stronger, that you are working hard, that you are progressing from every little thing that you're doing. I think it's very important. And I am also mentioning about this. And so also to remind myself as I work and, struggle in the life of existence and in the market. In this section 2, that is master your patient. As you master your patient and your specific skills, which I would often, term it as something that you are interested in as a kid or something that you love doing without making maximum efforts, or you does not get fed up of what you do and enjoy what you do, is the patient that I'm talking about. And while mastering your patient, I think, like I mentioned about sales, I love sales so much, and I am really happy and proud about how I have been selling things. Selling things has become so important, and learning how to sell has become so important, that I think knowing how to sell helps you with negotiations, understanding someone's mindset, and understanding the market. I also have mentioned about how a person who knows how to sell is so important, because in big companies or any form of company, business, startup, or literally anything, in order to make money, a person or the company or any service needs to make the sale, either be it service, product, or any forms of business. So selling a thing is so important here. I would like to remind, or recall myself, and like make an exception, because I exaggerate, or like blow my own trumpet, because I am so proud of myself in this section, that I remind myself and also tell people that I have not used even a single penny as I sell cars. I sell cars as a side hustling, because my love for cars is so big that I would often go wash people's car just to know about the cars, or get to drive cars, work for some people so that I know how to sell or get into the market of cars, selling cars. I started selling, I think, pens, starting from 10. It was a long journey, and I ended up selling certain cars, I think at least 15 cars in a year. And I think I made over a little bit enough for myself to survive that year and grow my business. And I am so proud that I have never ever used a capital in selling 10 plus cars in 1.5 years, which I would, like tell people that selling a cars is not as easy as you think, but I think I am really happy in not using any capital, is the whole point. Chapter 6. Celebrate your efforts and not only your success. I am often reminded by people that I work a little too hard and that I don't get to rest. And which turns out to be opposite when it comes to my parents and my families, because they rather see me as lazy. I don't know, but people out there see me as working really hard. But I think I celebrate my efforts and not only my success in my struggle for existence and in the life, and as I compete in the market. Celebrating your efforts and not only your success plays a crucial role, because you have to motivate yourself, you have to make yourself happy sometimes, you have to reward yourself, because if you only wait for success and not celebrate your efforts, I think that's a very big or bad mistakes that entrepreneurs or many career or many enthusiasts in any career, anything, is gonna do. Because celebrating your efforts in every little thing you do, not every little thing, but some certain points, some certain areas of achievement, or some certain areas of efforts should be celebrated. Chapter 7 speaks on working on yourself. I have particularly added this area or this topic or this chapter because even till now I complain that my parents does not help me in anything. I've been complaining mainly because they does not help me in financial. Actually, I'm really happy that they're like helping in my spiritual side, praying for me, wishing the best for me. But oftentimes when you get like when you overwork and when you're stressed, you come back home, sometimes throw some weird bad words at them just because they're not supporting you financially is the main thing that comes here. And I happen to realize that depending on people and mainly your family is a very bad thing. I can proudly say that, and like testify that my parents have not helped me at all in my entrepreneurial journey or most of my struggles in the financial terms, which honestly I do complain. And when things gets hard, you throw some bad attitude or some bad faces at them, which you don't feel good, but sometimes life is hard. But the point that I wish to convey here is that when you work on yourself and when you do not expect things from people, I think I work harder, and I'm sure you or anyone out there works harder when you don't expect people to like be there for you, especially in financial terms. And I would also like to clear things in this matter, that in this generation, working on yourself does not mean working alone. In this world, everyone is smart, we all agree. Everyone works hard, we all agree. But everyone needs to understand that working alone is not going to take you there or take you to the success journey. You all need to find a team, a good team with similar interest. And I have like cultivated the habit of gathering people and working as a team, because I think that's a very good thing to do. And I'm sure the outcome of working as a team is way different with people who have similar interests like you. Chapter 8: The Actual Desire for Achievement or Success. Out here, or in this particular context of the chapter, it speaks, or I have written it mainly focusing on what you should choose or what you should do, related on what interests you or what you wish to do for the rest of your life. Not because you want the power, not because you want the respect, or not because your parents are forcing you, or in entrepreneurial term, not because you want the money. Of course, who does not likes money? But I don't think, if you really wish to be a good entrepreneurship, I think money will come later if we work on our skills, if we work on what we really want, and work hard so that we expect the outcomes and not work for money. Chapter 9: Discipline greater than motivation. Like how we have spoke about not giving full interest in the money, or like forcing by someone to become a doctor, become an engineer. Rather, you work on what you wish to be or what you are passionate about. Just like that, I think I have added a short part of this chapter 8 where discipline is greater than watching all those motivational speech, reels, or YouTube shorts that are out there. Being disciplined, not procrastinating, not waking up late if you have promised to wake up at 6, and being disciplined by controlling alcohols, controlling of lust, not like obedient, or sometimes getting out of hand, especially in alcohol for guys, women's, and even in materialistic things. I think the discipline, if you can maintain the discipline by even in small things, I think discipline is the best thing that can ever happen in our success journey. Section 3, in this part of the book, that is chapter 11, chapter 9, 10, and 11. In chapter 10 and 11, that is the section 3, where it is about growing bigger, using the power of leverage, and using the power of the banks, or the loans that we get. I literally, or like, took commercial loans or business loan, just to add something about that interest people of how to get loans, and get loans from public bank, especially the SBI, because many of our people complain that getting loans is very hard and it's not for a normal people. But I got a loan even without having a proper unit, and I took a loan out of the same bank, a car loan, a personal loan, all from SBI, and without having to being a government employee. I just did that so that I can show the people, or made people realize that getting loans is not as hard as it thinks. I have some background supports, but I'm sure everyone can get the leverage from the bank. But first thing first, you have to have a unit, and you need to be established properly. I think that's very important to understand. You see, by the end of this section, I am referring to most business owners where you already have something, a niche, or something that you have already set up, be it a small shop or something that you run in your own bedroom also. You give some small services to people. Then this chapter is very important for you, because leverage is where we are going to be making more money out of the business. And in the last chapter, I would like to conclude by saying that I was very proud of me selling things and getting the capital gains. I would often sell anything if I make money, like including woods, including some, anything that I find in the market that people are selling. I buy and sell it again. Cars, woods, even stones, and many more. But I think I happen to realize that building a brand or building a proper startup is very important, and that capital gain, it's not as good as cash flow. So in this last part of this chapter, I have written about cash flow and how someone should understand what cash flow is. And I think, like how I mentioned, it's very important to start by selling with the capital gains. But I think it's very important that we maintain cash flow so that you retire early and get the best out of being an entrepreneurship, and be able to enjoy before you become very old. Let me conclude by saying that a true entrepreneurial idea often sounds stupid or foolish to most of your friends, families, and even your close ones, including your own bloodline parents. But if you believe in yourself and give everything you've got, then that's where the impossible starts to look possible, and it keeps on running. And a more thing about business is, or being, and speaking of this entrepreneur thing, I think we should all understand that business is very different from entrepreneur. Business are for the rich people who already have capitals and willing to invest in a business with lots of capital. But I think in an entrepreneurial, or being in the entrepreneur, it's more about more ideas and less capital. I think in an entrepreneur, you can also start from your own bed, or you can also start from your own living room, like how I start my whole thing from my small bedroom, where I eat. I bring my whole friends to work together with here in my small room. I work from here till midnight and many more. So I think we all should understand what business is and what entrepreneur is. Many people have the same idea, and only little people act on it. And that's a fact. And even after knowing it, it's very hard to act, but I think we all should act on what we wish to do. And I think that's one core reason for success in anything we do.